gang, Gucci 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 gang. Spread thin racks on new chain. My bitch love do cocaine. Ooh, I fuck a bitch, I forgot name. I can't buy me no weather rain. Rather go and buy ball mains. Gucci gang, Gucci gang, Gucci gang.
I do not regret doing that one bit. I can't lie that made me kind of dizzy. Hold on. Lil Pumpernickel, as some of us call him, even though his actual name is Lil Pump, is finally here with Harverd Dropout. This has been a project he's been teasing for a while. In fact, he first announced it back in January of 2018, but it's been delayed several times over and over and over again. There was even a point where it was supposed to come out, but he posted on Instagram that he lost the album. Weird marketing strategy, but okay. But now it is finally here. I shouldn't really need to introduce Lil Pump. We all kind of know who he is, the Soundcloud rap extraordinaire that blew up back in 2017 with the song that I just played, Gucci Gang. His debut project, was it a mixtape or an album? I don't even know. I've heard some people call it a tape, some people call it an album. Is this his debut album or is it his second album? Regardless, that project dropped in 2017 and I reviewed it back in 2017. I'll put the link to it down in the description. I thought it was okay. I didn't love it, but you know, I thought Pump had something interesting going for him. And even though it wasn't really much that you could take seriously, it had some fun factor to it for sure. So I was kind of looking forward to this new record over here. Especially because I was impressed with a few of the singles, like Esskeetit, the leadoff single. That's his catchphrase, by the way. And Multimillionaire with the man, the myth, the legend, Lil Uzi Vert. I really hope he drops Eternal Take sometime soon. But there were a few singles from this thing that really didn't impress me. For example, the latest single, Racks on Racks. And also, I Love It with Kanye West. We already know about that one. But I was still interested to see where Pump would go because given that he came out of nowhere and was a big surprise artist, I was interested to see, is the surprise factor still here with this new record? So it's 16 songs, which is okay. I mean, it's better than some of the 20-song albums we've been getting. And I think I can forgive the 16 songs because the album's only long by way of it being that many tracks. Most of them are about 2 minutes long. There's like one 4-minute song and a couple 3-minute ones. Pump is not known to regularly drop long songs, so even though it's only 16 songs, it's only 40 minutes, so that's not a bad length. And he does have some pretty big features on here. He's got Kanye, Smoke Perp, that's his right-hand man, Offset, Quavo, Uzi, Lil Wayne, YG, 2 Chainz, all relatively big names, at least names that I've heard of. So I'm interested to see what he does with this project. By the way, there are going to be a few songs on here that because we've all heard them already, I'll probably only just play like the hook or something just for you guys. So with that said, let us begin. Esskeetit. I'm sorry, I had to throw that in somewhere. Track number 1 is called Dropout.
Harvard Dropout, bitch.
Right away.
Ooh, dropped out, then I got rich. Dropped out, then I put a Patek on my wrist. Ooh, dropped out for my teacher cause she ain't shit. Dropped out, spent $500,000 on my whip. Dropped out, now I'm richer than your mom. Dropped out, then I got rich. Ooh, dropped out, then I got rich. Dropped out as a 10th grader. Why chase a bitch when I got paper? Why hit it from the back till I brought the table? Still free agent, I just left the label. Dropped out, then I got rich. Ooh, dropped out, then I got rich. Dropped out, then I got rich. Ooh, dropped out, then I got rich.
Hey, at least he tells us a story early about what happened. Admittedly, again, I think the song is kind of fun. I think that what makes Pump appealing to me is that a lot of his music is just dumb fun, and that is dumb fun too. I mean, I like the electronic instrumentals on that one. Pump's flows are kind of fun. I think his vocal performance is charismatic enough. I don't think it does a whole lot different from much of his other stuff. Like, I feel like it kind of reminds me a bit of Boss, but it sounds like he, at least technically speaking, is trying to mumble a little bit less, so, you know, he's trying to improve in some ways, subtly. It's a decent starter, I'll give it that. Track number 2 is literally called Nuh-uh.
Don't talk to me, nuh-uh. Don't stare at me, nuh-uh. Ooh, yeah, I done, glowed up, chill. Did I fuck a bitch, nuh-uh. Ooh, nuh-uh, ooh, nuh-uh, chill, nuh-uh, ooh, nuh-uh. Don't talk to me, that's your hoe, she said you a rookie.
I'm not crazy about that hook.
I don't like school anyway, dropped out, made $1 million backstage. Got from my teacher on my back page. 3 Zans and I go on a rampage. Damn, told her at work cause all she do is cook. Learn how to sell crack before I learn to read a book. Chip, wow. Don't talk to me, nuh-uh. Don't stare at me, nuh-uh.
I think the problem with songs that have really repetitive hooks like that is that sometimes they work and they can be fun, sometimes they're just kind of eh. And I think that's what my problem is with that song. It's kind of killed by the hook. Like, I think the production's kind of fun. Again, it's got some really quirky electronic stuff going on for it. Pump obviously has some fun on it. I just don't really think the hook is one of his best. Again, that's not really a high barrier for entry because one of the guy's biggest songs is him repeating the words Gucci Gang like 7 times. It's a decent track. Nothing that special, I would say. Track number 3 he did include I Love It with Kanye West. I was kind of hoping he wouldn't, but I'm only going to play a little bit because we've heard this song a million times before and I'm not really that crazy about it.
You're such a fucking hoe. I love it. I love it. You're such a fucking. I'm a sick fuck. I like a quick fuck. I'm a sick fuck. I like a quick fuck. I'm a sick fuck. I like a quick fuck. I'm a sick fuck. I like a quick fuck.
I looked like a dork throughout that whole reaction. I don't really care for that song. I think it's actually got a kind of decent bass groove to it, but I just think it's kind of boring, and the only thing that kind of makes it appealing to me was the music video because of the memes. Other than that, the song itself is just It's Pump trying to be a little more melodic and not doing a very great job with it, and it's another case of Kanye trying to jump on a young rapper's album to get a little more clout. He's done it with Pump, he did it with XXXTentacion on the posthumous album, he did it with 6ix9ine. I guess whatever works to sell his sneakers and get him attention. I don't make the rules, I just follow them. Track number 4 is Ion featuring Lil Pump's right-hand man, Smoke Perp.
I don't eat food, we drug addicts. CB on the beat. I don't need you, I don't need school. I pop beans, I don't eat food. I don't eat food. Bitch, give me talk like a drug talk cool. I said bleed in my
Do drug addicts not eat food?
What the neck do? Fuck a whole pound to the face in the stoop. Perk getting money like a Jew. Jump on me, get smoked like a Jew. Give a whole pound and I'm on probation. Fuck a nigga bitch, I left her in the basement. Pop 10 hands when I'm on vacation. Got you out, whipping up dope, butt naked. Locked up in New York with a perk. Cuff somebody, it came from the dirt. Take a nigga main and he say yes sir. Shoot at his leg, make a fuck nigga jerk.
I don't know what to think about that one, to be honest. It's definitely energetic, for sure. I definitely think it's a serviceable track, and it's not bad. I think I'm just not crazy about the whole rapid-firing flow that they have going on. In a way, I can't lie, it kind of sounds like they actually rapped it at normal speed and then sped it up. I think that Smoke Perp, to me, is the more interesting part of the song. Like, Pump has good energy, but I'm not as crazy about the way he sounds on it. I think Smoke Perp is more interesting to me on this one. Not a bad track. It's exactly what you'd expect out of a Lil Pump song at this point. Track number 5 is called For Show featuring Offset, which, by the way, his album came out too, and I'm going to be reacting to that after this gets uploaded.
Call it them hoe for show, for show. For show, it's a pack for show, for show. So plan came with a butterfly dose. I'm 17 and I just made a folks. Damn, wake up and I go to the bank. Stand on the table, I'll make it rain. Damn, we with your wife, we just ran the train. So much money, I think I damaged my brain. Sipping on mud, the diamonds crushed it, luxury. Bust my all on my cuts, me. Bust you touch me, shoot out your gut, leak. Forgets they wet, they slippery. It's a gift me, it's coming wickedly. Welcome back, we don't kiss those. This watch, no watch, call the Millie Woe. Let me get a truck inside Crisco. Hit, get out the way, we don't miss hoes. The bitch wanna hit me, she a nympho. She wanna fuck me. Call it them hoe for show, for show.
That was a good Offset verse. I like that one. I like the pianos, kind of dark and kind of eerie a little bit. Pump's got a kind of fun performance on that one. And I think Offset kind of flies in and has a little fun with his verse too. He's not, you know, rapid firing as he usually does, but he sounds like he's having fun, he's goofing off a little bit, and it ends up working in this case. Again, when it comes to goofing off for a song, sometimes it's hit or miss, sometimes you goof off too much and it ends up sounding really bad. Sometimes you goof off just the right amount and it sounds good. This time they goofed off the right amount and it sounds pretty good. Track number 6 is Racks on Racks, one of the big singles from this thing. I've already listened to it and I'm not that crazy about it, but I'll listen to it again just to see if it sounds better in the context of the album.
Racks on racks on racks on racks on racks on racks, bitch. Racks on racks on racks on racks on racks on racks, bitch. Fuck a bitch once, say nah, I'm finished. Pop 2 perks, now I don't feel it. Is you with it? Show me your titties. Ugly ass hoes cannot come pick it. She flush her titties out of the roof. I feel like that's on my lead in my tooth. I could buy you coke, but can't buy you food. Racks on racks on racks on racks on racks on racks, bitch. Racks on racks on racks on racks on racks on racks, bitch.
Yeah, that one didn't really grow on me all that much. Again, Pump has fun with it, but I feel like some of the production to me just feels a bit overly poppy, a little bit too factory produced, and I'm not really all that crazy about the hook either. Sometimes, again, a repetitive hook can be fun, but in this case, it just feels a little bit grating. Mostly saved by his Esskeetit ad-libs, I would say. Yeah, it didn't really grow on me in the case of the album, but we still got a number of songs left, so let's see what the rest of this thing is like. Track number 7 is Off-White.
Off-White, alright. Off-White, alright. Represent good night. She kept looking at my eyes. White rice, Fortnite. Red light. And my baby mama with the ops. Bitches.
White rice, Fortnite. Pew, pew, pew.
Rest your mama hit that. But since I started sipping lean, I lost my six. Where I Carly at? Where the party at? Represent good night. She kept looking at my eyes. Off-White, alright. Off-White, alright.
That's another one that I feel kind of would have been better if the hook was better. It's not really all that earwormy. It's not one of my personal favorite hooks, but I do like the very slick instrumentals on that one, and I think that Pump's performance is very charismatic. Again, I think it's just held back by the hook. That's all it is. I feel like the hook isn't really all that earwormy or catchy to me. Track number 8 is the single Butterfly Doors. This was a pretty controversial one for the rather insensitive lyrics to the Asian community, complete with the kind of gross ad-lib. I'll listen to the song again. I did listen to it before and wasn't entirely crazy about it, but I'll listen to it again just to see what I think this time.
Butterfly doors, space coupe look like a UFO. Smoking on dope, damn. You cut me off, cut my eye real low. If I go broke, I'ma kick those. I'ma go back to the knees to the seagull. I can't go, no, when I fly if I ain't got my pole. Two Lamborghinis with the butterfly doors. I don't like the old Gucci, bitch. I'm burnt on froze. I'm burnt, smoking on dope, damn. You cut me off, cut my eye real low.
You can just hear that they didn't even really care to replace it. They just kind of censored over it. I like the kind of dark production on that, and I feel like I like the song for the fact that it tells me that, hey, even though Pump has a studio album now and he's got this budget and the backing, he's not going to let himself get too poppy and too caught up in pop trends. He's still going to keep to his original sound, which is cool. And again, his performances are still charismatic and pretty fun. I'm just not really all that crazy about the hook. Even with it being censored over, I feel like it's just not really all that exciting or earwormy, to be honest. The song itself is still decent, though. So overall, now that I'm about halfway through the album, I'll say it's not bad so far. It's basically about what I expected this album to be, just decent. We'll see what the second half is like because this is where he starts to up some of the features, so let's see. Track number 9 is Too Much Ice featuring Quavo!
Too much ice on me, bitch. I'm the youngest flexer around here, show you shit about me. Ooh, belly cool, drop talk cool, cost a couple G's. Hey, I get high every day of the fucking week. Oh shit, bitch, I should wanna do it, eat. When someone jokes on nigga on everything, top of chain, pick her ain't, find out what she acting like, hey. Chain looking like necklace, shirt spat, Lil Pump like a nigga with the mayor. Every time you see me, damn, I be dripping Fiji chill. You see me on TV, ooh, and they wanna be me, hey. Trap it, wrap it up, send it. Uncle still smoking on midget. Ooh, tell me them bad. Ooh, make more money than your dad. Make more money than your dad. Ooh, pass it on the lunch, Steve Nash. I'm at the bank, no mask. Too much ice, too much ice, too much ice.
Just kind of killed the song for me. I was really enjoying it for the most part. I liked the kind of darker production on it. I thought that Pump's constantly switching flows were very fun, and again, he brings his typical high energy performance here. I think what really killed the song for me is the Quavo feature. Not that Quavo was terrible on it, it just was, you know, a very typical Quavo feature, something we've heard a lot of times before. It's nothing very special. I feel like his performance doesn't really fit that well up against Pump's on this one. I don't know. Decent track, I just kind of wasn't as crazy about the feature. Track number 10 is Multi-Millionaire featuring Lil Uzi Vert. This one was a single and we've probably heard it already, but I'll play it again. I did enjoy this one, so let's see if I still enjoy it. Probably look like a dork doing this, but whatever.
If you rich, put your bust down in a L. I just got 30 pints shipped through the mail. Drop on Molly's on my casket and 3 pints of activist. My house made it super thick. My house made it super thick. She finna go clean my house, then she finna suck my dick. Multi-millionaire, ooh, multi-millionaire, yeah. And my headlights on the dare, ooh. I can make a bitch stop stare, ooh. Gotta go cop 2 pair, ooh. Would you go over my clear? I'm getting these silence, I keep it 100. You look at my chain and that bitch is so sassy. This motherfucker cold, it be those running. I got a bitch live out and double get money. I'm back with a drum and I fall like I'm drumming. Got Uzis and Max and I might Billy truck. Let's go.
Yep, just as fun as I remember. Energetic, obviously Pump brings his high energy. The hook is catchy. Again, it's a goofy track, but it's catchy, and I think Uzi brings a nice flavor to the song with his performance. It feels different from Pump's. I think the auto-tune filters on his vocals don't sound weird, and I don't want to say he runs away with the song because that makes it seem like Pump's performance wasn't good, but as good as Lil Pump sounded on the song, I think that Uzi was the highlight just for me. Definitely a fun track, definitely one of the better singles that was released from this album, and I do enjoy it, even if I look like a dork doing this to it when I'm listening to it. Track number 11 is called Vroom Vroom Vroom. Now that disappoints me. I wish the song was called Skirt!
Vroom, 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 vroom. Bitch convertible. She gon' flash her titties, flash out of the roof. School. She gon' fuck on the crew. I'ma hop out and just shoot in front of your boo. I got so much guns on me. I'm in a hotel room. So white bitch, look like Miley Cyrus.
Oh my God.
In a trap selling. They call me your highness. Who is you? I ain't heard of you.
Yeah, I didn't really dig that one, to be honest. I felt like the production was really bog standard. Typical trap stuff. The hook was kind of cheesy even by Pump standards. And even though he had his typical energy, I feel like it wasn't really enough to save the song. By the way, I'm sorry if my descriptions are not really that, descript with this album, but then again, it is a Lil Pump album. How descript can you be? It's not meant to be deep or lyrical, so But yeah, I wasn't that crazy about that track. Definitely one of the weaker ones on the album so far. We're getting near the end though, so we'll see how the rest of this does. Track number 12 is Be Like Me, featuring the man himself, Lil Wayne.
Everybody wanna be like me. Ooh, yeah. Everybody wanna be like me. Everybody wanna be like me. Bust down big chains and dress fancy. Spent 2K last week on the white tee.
This is different.
Everybody wanna be like me. 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 Everybody wanna be like me.
Okay, so at least we see he can't really hold a note.
Yes, I'm hella ignorant, I don't give a fuck. And everybody wanna be like, yeah. Everybody wanna go and smash Kim K. Ooh, you can talk shit about me every day, but I'm still rich at the end of the day. I'm a role model that these kids wanna be. I just smashed a pregnant bitch that's overseas. Walk around with my side bitch on a leash. I was 13 when I started to believe. While I'm so
Wow.
hard, I'm me. So who you? You know what I mean? Everybody wanna be like Toon, grow up to be like Toon, grow up to be like Toon. No one can be like Toon, no I can see Tycoon. And if the shoe fit, wear it. I can't if these not new.
Okay, I could definitely see why that was released as a single, because it definitely feels far more poppy than most of his other stuff. As for the song itself, it's there. I mean, the production is definitely fun on it. I think that Pump can't hold a note as he goes, everybody wanna be like me. I can't tell if his voice is cracking or if he just legitimately can't sing in tune. But, he has some fun on it, and I like Wayne's verse a lot. It's goofy, it's overly auto-tuned, but it's fun. It's not a track that I absolutely love. Again, that hook is killing me, but it's decent, and I could see why it was released as a single. It's definitely got the poppy edge to it. Track number 13 is Stripper Name, featuring YG and 2 Chainz.
Alexis. Fucked her in Miami, but I left her in Texas. And she acting reckless. And she almost fainted cause of diamonds on my necklace. Going to 60 seconds, how I leave when I'm through. Got a bitch named Nisha, and she down the fuck. I don't do, so I don't do the butt. Swallow the pride, swallow the snot. She said, take me on a trip, take this dick and shut up. I don't know her name, but I call her fat. When she bust it down, I make her play a bad. Gotta be 21 like blackjack, baby.
2 Chainz is always coming through some fun verses.
Got a manicure to play with the click. Walked in the club and brought some brain in this bitch.
The instrumental was really weird, like that looping. I couldn't tell what the hell that was, if it was a seal or if it was like 2 people having sex or what. But it was fun, and I think Pump, he sounds goofy enough on this one. Another case of a song that's goofy enough to work without being so goofy that it sounds tacky. And then it's rounded out pretty nicely by YG and 2 Chainz, who come in with some pretty solid guest features, as I kind of expected them to. Pretty solid song. Track number 14 is Drug Addicts. This was a single that I admittedly didn't get to listen to, so it's gonna be my first time listening to it. Let's see how it is.
Gang full of drug addicts. Ooh, chill. Take a lot of shit, forgot what happened. I ain't gon' lie, I got it. I've been smoking since I was 11. Ooh, 11. I've been
Lord.
pumping pills since I was 7.
Jesus.
Told my pastor I don't do confessions. Hell no. Cause I pop a lot of Molly for my breakfast. Ooh, Molly. I ain't never listened to nobody. Nope. Everybody around me like them oxys. I was too leaned out to dry the rock. Man, her ass wait 2 hours in the lock. God, I can't go outside cause I see paparazzi. Chill. Addicts.
Yeah, I can see why people don't really like that one as much, at least some of the people I've heard from. I mean, I've heard a lot of people complain about how, of course, it obviously objectifies drugs because that's all of rap music these days, but I think my big problem is that as a song, structurally, I think it's really repetitive and, you know, the whole start-stop flow is really annoying to me. I definitely think that's most likely the weakest of the singles, and that's even with I Love It. I think that this is even weaker than that. Does it kill the album? No, not so far. I just definitely think it's pretty weak. Track number 15 is Esskeetit, the first single, and we've all heard Esskeetit, so I'm literally just gonna play the hook for you guys. But first, I gotta enjoy it the proper way. Once again, I have no regrets. I know some of you guys may have been wanting me to play a little bit more of the song, but again, we've all heard it already, so we kind of know how it is. I do like it. I love the energy on it. It's really high energy. Pump has a lot of fun with it. The hook is one of the most earwormy hooks on the album, and I definitely think it's one of Pump's better tracks. That's another reason why I didn't really play a whole lot of it, because did you guys really want to see me for about like 3 whole minutes doing this? I don't think so. Track number 16, the closer track, is called Who Dat.
Who that nigga with the icy ass chain? Who? Gucci shirt, Gucci shoes, leather ball mains. Gucci. Who that? Swerving in a purse cane. Bad bitches, goddamn, I love it when they ratchet. Smoking on Tuka and Calabasas. Bitch, I was dripping before I was rapping. I'm rich as fuck, but I don't pay my taxes. Walking in a club with a ratchet. Got choppers, we got pounds. So we ride out the W. Goddamn. Who that nigga with the icy ass chain? Who? Gucci shirt, Gucci shoes, leather ball mains. Gucci. Who that? Swerving in a purse cane.
So that was the closer track, Who Dat, and I feel like I'm probably going to end up repeating myself with this one because my thought on it is kind of my thought on a number of tracks on this album. I like Pump's charisma. The beat is really fun. I really like the pianos, again, very eerie and dark. I just don't really care much for the hook on it. I think it's kind of boring and just definitely not one of the earwormier hooks on the record. Overall, Harvard Dropout was about what I expected it to be, which is just fine. Is it the best thing I've ever heard? Of course not. Is it better than his first project? In ways, I suppose. Is it going to be one of the year's best albums? No. Is it one of the worst? No. It's there. It's exactly what it's supposed to be. It's dumb fun. I do think the record could have benefited from a few better hooks, but it feels like Pump is kind of doing exactly what he needs to do to have his fan base enjoy his music, and, you know, at least that's worth commending. It's not much different from his last record outside of a few more poppy tracks, but, you know, it's there, it serves its purpose, and it's decent. Nothing amazing, nothing terrible. It's a Lil Pump record. We're only 2 records in with him, but you kind of know what you're gonna get. Some good dumb fun, but maybe not the most consistency in the world. Did it need to be 16 tracks? Maybe he could have cut a few of them, but overall, because they're short enough, they don't stale out too quick, with a few exceptions. My favorite tracks on the album were Dropout, For Show, Multimillionaire, Stripper Name, and Esskeetit. My least favorites on the album were I Love It, Rex on Rex, Vroom Vroom Vroom, and Drug Addicts. Overall, I am going to give Lil Pump's Harvard Dropout an okay rating. I don't love it. I don't think it's amazing, but did I expect it to be amazing? Not particularly. But did I expect it to be terrible? No, not at all. And it's about what I expected, which is a decent enough album with a few highlights on there that are worth going back to, even if it's a little inconsistent and some of the hooks aren't great. Overall, I think I'm just impressed to see that Lil Pump is putting out another decent enough project, and I think with it, he'll at least have some longevity. I think my only worry is that when Pump dropped his first project, I kind of worried that his surprise factor would dissipate quickly. But no, I think he still has enough room to surprise us, enough room to experiment on this album, and while I don't love it, I think it is serviceable enough for what it's trying to do. But hey, that's just my opinion on the record. What did you guys think of it? Did you love it in a way that I couldn't? Did you hate it in a way that I didn't? What did you think of it? Let me know your thoughts down in the comments. Let's keep it civil and have some fun. Do you think this is better or worse than his last project? Because honestly, I'm still at a loss. I don't really know if I like this or the last one better. But, you know, they're both okay, so at least there's that. Otherwise, thanks for watching the review as always. Hit the like button and the subscribe button if you want, but you know I'm no beggar, so you don't have to. And once I get this edited and uploaded, I will record my review of Offset's new album, Father of Four, so stay tuned for that. Until then, thank you guys for watching, and I will see you in the next video. Peace.